which of course wasn't a great start to the year. But yeah, I really thought that I'd got away with it. Just so exhausted. Hello, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all well and keeping safe. Today I wanted to do a story time video talking about my COVID-19 experience. I caught the coronavirus at the beginning of this year, which of course wasn't a great start to the year. I thought I would share with you my day-by-day symptoms just so you can get a little bit of an idea of what it was like for me. Of course, I just want to say that everyone's experiences of this virus are different. It's such a strange virus and there's actually a lot of unknowns, and so my experience doesn't account for everyone's experience. Some people will have had it more mild and some people will have had it a lot worse. Another thing that I just wanted to say before I start is that I'm not a doctor and I'm not offering any medical or health advice. I'm just letting you know my experiences of how the virus affected me whilst I had it. So yeah, let's get on with me explaining what symptoms I had and how it affected me. As always, don't forget to like this video because it really helps me out. Comment if you'd like and subscribe to my channel to see more content all about my life as a stay-at-home mum to a 1-year-old, including vlogs, hauls and advice. So for me, it all started on the 3rd of January. My husband already had it at this point. He started getting symptoms on New Year's Eve at about 10 o'clock at night. So literally just before we went into the new year was when it basically hit our family. So he struggled for a few days, and I thought, oh yeah, I've not got it, I'm going to be asymptomatic. Obviously I was isolating anyway because we're in the same household, but yeah, I really thought that I'd got away with it. But then on January the 3rd, started off in the afternoon, evening, and I started to get headaches first of all. And they were just horrible, these headaches. They were so persistent, and I also had body aches and exhaustion, which just meant I really did not feel like moving at all. And then in the evening of the 3rd of January, I started to get a new cough, and it was persistent, and it almost felt like a fake cough. Now, other people I've spoken to that have also had COVID have said that it felt like a fake cough to them too. I was like trying to figure out, is this just me have I convinced myself that I've caught it off of Pete and I'm just coughing to like compensate for that or something? Or do I actually have it? But anyway, I booked myself a test straight away for the next day because I was coughing, and the government advice at the moment is if you've got a cough or high temperature or loss of sense of taste or smell, then go get a test. So I was like, okay, I need to get a test because I've got a cough. My throat was already sore and I'd not even coughed that much at this point. So I was like, oh no, this is just going to be terrible. And then I started to get nausea. Now, when I was pregnant, I suffered with HG, which is severe pregnancy sickness, morning sickness. And it was literally like that. It literally felt like that. In fact, my friends actually said to me, maybe you should take a pregnancy test. And I was like, no, it's fine, I'm not pregnant. It's definitely a symptom of whatever I've got, whether that's COVID or not. Then moving on to the 4th of January, which was the next day, I went and got my test in the morning. I felt so weak that I couldn't drive. I had to get Pete to drive me because he wasn't feeling as rough as me at this point, like exhaustion wise and headache and things like that. So he drove us all to the test centre, all three of us, and I took my test. I wasn't brave enough to do the test myself. I had to do a test prior to this, like a couple of months ago, when I had a temperature, and oh my goodness, I literally couldn't get to the tonsils at the back where you have to do the swab, so I had to get Pete to do it. Like, for some reason, my tongue just wouldn't stay down enough, because it's not allowed to touch any other part of your mouth. It has to just touch the back of your throat. So I literally had to take my toothbrush, and we used the handle of my toothbrush to hold my tongue down so he could get to it. But we got there in the end. We did the test. We did it as best as we could. I didn't get much sleep the night before because Luna basically was awake the whole night. So we now kind of think that maybe she had it but didn't show any other symptoms, because her sleep went, like, she basically just didn't sleep for like 3 nights. I woke up aching all over. I had a headache, shoulder ache, dizziness. I basically felt like I'd been at the gym all night. So I suffer with fibromyalgia, and it basically, the way I described it to Pete was that to tell him how I was feeling was basically like a really, really bad fibro flare-up, like times 10 fibro. I just felt absolutely, I don't know, I was just so exhausted. And also, the other thing that we found at this point was that it was such a roller coaster. We would get a symptom, and then the symptom would go away, and then another symptom would come, and then that would go away, and then the other symptom would come back again. And you just couldn't keep up. Like, I couldn't keep up with the symptoms. They just kept changing, and that made it more exhausting, I think. Now, in the evening, I started to get stomach cramps as well, and just felt the nausea again, and felt really ill. I was getting some stabbing pains as well in my stomach, and I was like, oh no, is this normal? Is this COVID? Is this something else? Because I hadn't had my test results, obviously, at this point. Then the 5th of January, I woke up aching again, didn't get much sleep again, my cough came back again, and it was much worse this time. It still felt fake, but it was much worse. And my chest felt really tight when I was breathing in. I've had that before when I've been ill, but not really this bad. Like, every time I breathed in, it felt really, really tight, and all of my joints hurt, like literally down to my knuckles. Every single joint in my body just ached. Coming on to the 6th of January, I got my positive test result back in the morning. I posted it on my Instagram story, and I ticket a few people thinking that it was a positive pregnancy test I was talking about, but it was in fact a positive COVID test. And I just kept coughing. I understand why they say persistent cough, because no matter how much coughing I did, it would not clear the sensation of needing to cough. It just constantly felt like I still needed to clear my throat, and I couldn't. I felt really hot, as if I had a temperature, but when I checked my temperature, it was fine. And I did have a sore throat as well at this point. I didn't have any strength or energy. I was just exhausted so quickly. So on this day, I decided, basically, obviously I was ill, so I didn't want to work out, but I do like to do workouts. So I found a gentle stretching video on YouTube, and I just followed that along at my own pace, only doing the bits that I felt like doing, just because I thought, oh, maybe that will help me. But oh my goodness, I was so out of breath just from this stretching video. It was such a gentle video, and I felt like I'd just, like, so out of breath that I felt like I'd gone for a run or something, but I really hadn't. And also my pain threshold was significantly lower during the whole illness. So usually if Luna like tugs on my hair or taps me or whatever, the pain isn't too bad. But literally, like, I was actually getting in a lot of pain whenever she tugged my hair or tapped me or whatever. It was really, really painful. Things that usually don't bother me at all. And also on the evening of this day, I got the worst headache that I'd had so far. So we're on day 4 now, and yeah, I literally had such a bad headache in the evening and blurry vision. Like, I was trying to watch the TV, and it was just really, like, difficult to watch because I was just in so much pain. I had to just give up in the end. And I thought, okay, I'll go to bed and I'll see what happens in the morning. So then on day 5, I woke up and this awful headache had not gone away. It was still there, and it was still just as bad as the day before. And I was taking, like, painkillers and things, and nothing was working. I still felt achy as well, and I was just really struggling with normal tasks like getting Luna dressed. That was just absolutely exhausting for me. Normally that's not too bad, but this day it was just not happening. And then it got to the evening and I had such a bad headache still. It had been over 24 hours and it was just not budging. No amount of painkillers or rest or anything was getting rid of this headache. It was basically here to stay. That's what it felt like. And this is when I started to realise that I said before about it being a roller coaster, but it's literally, I realised that most illnesses are quite linear in that you get worse and then you get better, but this one, like, you get worse then better then worse then better. Like, it's so up and down, and just when you think you're feeling a little bit better, another symptom comes and just bites you. It's really horrible. And then I started to get this symptom where my nose felt like it was blocked, but it wasn't like a runny nose. It just literally felt like it was really hard to breathe in air through my nose. And the way I described it was that it was like someone had shoved cotton wool up my nose, up my nostrils. It was just really hard to get air in through my nose. Yeah, that was not a pleasant symptom at all. And then on the 8th of January, I still had the headache. This was day 3 of this really bad headache. I'd had one before that, but this was like one continuous headache. It hadn't gone away at all. Paracetamol didn't work. In the evening it was still there, so by this point it had been 48 hours of a constant headache, and that in itself was just really exhausting. And that evening I did get the cotton wool nose symptom again, and the nausea came back as well. And then I know I mentioned before about having some pains in my abdomen, and on the 9th of January, so we're on day 7 now, I woke up and literally the whole night I'd had really, really bad stabbing pains in my abdomen. I still don't know if that was like linked or if that was something else, but it was really painful. The headache was still there and the stomach pain hadn't eased throughout the day. It was still there as well. And then around lunchtime the stomach pain did ease a little bit, but I still had the headache. Now on the 10th of January, I had a shower in the morning and I was absolutely exhausted from my shower. I still had a headache as well and I was still really exhausted. Like, I had a shower and I just like had to sit down for, I think I sat down for like 5 hours after my shower, just sat there because I was so exhausted, and with the headache as well, it was just making it all worse. But a lot of the other symptoms weren't too bad by this point, so like the cough and things like that had eased quite a lot. So now on day 9, so I was so close to the end of my isolation, so I was quite excited to actually get some fresh air at some point. And I think by that point I was over the worst of it. Most of my symptoms had ended. It was literally just the exhaustion that it left me with, and sort of the breathlessness, like out of breath after doing certain things, like having a shower, helping Luna with certain things as well. So yeah, it was literally just the exhaustion. And then the next day, which was the 12th, I actually felt a lot better. I wrote in my notes, because I wrote down the notes so that I could tell you guys about it. And yeah, I just felt a lot more human at this point. And so now, today when I'm filming this, it's the 21st of January. So I've been out of isolation for about a week now. I've been outside a few times and I've been able to get back to my sort of daily tasks that I usually do. And I am feeling so much better. I have gone back to working out now, and I've noticed that I have been getting out of breath a little bit more than normal, but that symptom has improved a lot as well. It's nowhere near what it was before. I have still been getting headaches quite a lot of days, but paracetamol does help them now, so it's not as bad as that awful one that I had for like multiple days straight. That was really, really horrible. But yeah, I have been getting headaches still, but they've been eased by paracetamol, which has been really helpful. Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty much over it now, which is good to see the other side of things and to come out of isolation and just feel a bit more human again. So yeah, that is my COVID-19 experience. I hope that you have found this interesting. Hearing my story time about just my different symptoms, how my isolation went and how the illness basically panned out for me. Luckily, Luna didn't really get any symptoms other than the lack of sleep, and I'm also really glad that Pete is back at work and feeling a bit more himself. He's still exhausted as well, but he's doing a lot better than he was when he had the illness. Obviously, all of us suffered, but I think me and Pete definitely suffered a lot worse than Luna. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos from me about my life as a stay-at-home mum to a 1-year-old, including vlogs, hauls and advice. Please like this video and leave a comment down below because it really helps me out on my channel. So yeah, with that, I'm going to say bye-bye.